The wreckage still sang, not with sound. Space had no air for that, but with radiation echoes and dying energy trails that only military sensors could hear. To Admiral Kael'Zor the Tarsus Dominion, it was a graveyard that refused to stay silent. He stood on the observation spine of his flagship and watched broken warships drift like frozen skeletons. Some belonged to his fleet. Some belonged to their enemies. Humans. 3 months had passed since the battle ended. The debris field remained, perfectly mapped, carefully marked, strangely untouched, because the humans had forbidden cleanup. They want it remembered, Kael'Zor said quietly. Behind him, Tactical Adept Rin shifted her posture fins. Sir, permission to speak freely? You always do. They are sending a message without transmitting one. Kael'Zor did not disagree. This was the third Sol conflict, the third United Galactic attempt to break Earth's defensive perimeter and seize the system's resource grid. By all strategic models, the campaign should have lasted 9 days. It lasted 11 minutes. His fingers tightened behind his back. The Dominion had prepared for 30 years, studied human combat recordings, reverse-engineered captured weapons, modeled human psychology using stolen neural scans. Every projection predicted victory. Every projection was wrong. Admiral, the comm officer signaled. Emergency Council assembly begins in 1 standard hour. All major powers confirmed attendance. Of course they are, Kael'Zor replied. Fear travels faster than light. When pride is wounded, he turned once more to the battlefield remains and to the single intact structure floating at its center, a human medical station, still active, still broadcasting rescue beacons, still treating alien survivors. Even now, they rebuilt a hospital before they rebuilt their fleet, Rin said softly. That, Kael'Zor answered, is what terrifies the High Command. The galaxy did not understand humans. Dominion doctrine was simple. Victory meant ownership. Survivors meant labor. Mercy meant weakness. Humans inverted every rule. They counterattacked with terrifying precision, then fed their prisoners. They destroyed invasion fleets, then repaired escape pods. They could have chased retreating forces across half the spiral arm. They never did, which meant one of 2 things. Either they were morally restricted or strategically patient. Kael'Zor feared the second answer. His arm implant pulsed. Phantom pain from a human kinetic strike that nearly killed him in a final engagement. No energy bloom, no plasma trail, just a solid metal slug moving, so fast it bent the sensor grid. Primitive concept, impossible execution. Sir, Rin said, updated intelligence packet from Sol System. Play it. A holographic sphere appeared between them. Earth's star map, but something was wrong. Construction markers blinked across the system, yet visual confirmation showed empty space. Sensor ghosting? Kael'Zor asked. We triple-checked. Gravitational distortion confirms mass structures present, but no reflected scan returns. Invisible shipyards, he whispered. Yes, sir. More data scrolled. Lunar energy output, plus 380%. Unregistered jump signatures, multiple. Non-charted destinations, confirmed. They are expanding beyond map space, Rin said. No, Kael'Zor replied. They are expanding beyond observed space. He remembered the human pilot who disabled his dread carrier, a ship the size of Moon, silenced by something smaller than shuttle. The pilot transmitted a message after the strike. Crew rescue coordinates attached. Try not to invade us again. Mockery without cruelty. Confidence without rage. That was new. That was dangerous. Admiral, comms called again. Priority signal origin, Earth. System-wide broadcast preparing. Kael'Zor turned slowly. To us only? To everyone. He felt cold along his spine ridges. Patch it to every screen, he ordered. Signal strength? The comm officer swallowed. Maximum. It's reaching the entire galaxy simultaneously. Rin whispered, That's not possible. Kael'Zor answered, It is if the rumors are true. Across the bridge, stars dimmed as the transmission overrode all channels. A human appeared on screen. No armor, no fleet behind her. no threat posture, just calm eyes, and absolute certainty. Kael'Zor understood something instantly, before she spoke a single word. This was not negotiation. This was conclusion. The signal did not travel. It arrived. Every receiver across known space, military, civilian, encrypted analog, activated at the same instant. No carrier wave, no jump lag, no relay delay. One moment there was silence. The next, the human was there. Admiral Kael'Zor felt a command deck go still around him. Even the background computation hum dropped, as if the ship itself was listening. The human woman sat alone in a plain chamber. No war banners, no guards, no symbols of dominance. Only a blue-white flag behind her, and a field of black stone engraved with countless names. Memorial stone, not propaganda. That detail disturbed him more than a fleet would have. She looked directly into the camera, which meant she looked directly into him. "My name is Director Elena Ward of United Earth Command," she said calmly. "This message is addressed to every spacefaring civilization. No translator lag." The signal carried adaptive linguistic mapping. Each listener heard their native tongue. Impossible tech layered inside simple delivery. "You have launched 3 full invasion campaigns against our home system in 50 years, she continued. "Each time we responded defensively. Each time we stopped you. Each time we returned your survivors. No anger, no accusation, just record." On the main display, battle footage appeared, but not the kind galactic empires used. Not victory edits. Not enemy humiliation reels. Raw views. Human cities burning. Civilian shelters hit. Medical ships targeted. Children being evacuated under fire. Kael'Zor heard someone behind him whisper, "Why show weakness?" He answered without turning, "Because they are building moral position." The human continued, "You believed restraint meant limitation. Mercy meant inability. Defensive posture meant technological inferiority." The images changed. Now the footage was from angles no alien archive possessed. Hidden angles. Human stealth platforms observing entire invasion fleets. Unseen years before attacks began. Quiet tracking. Silent mapping. Total awareness. Kael'Zor's throat tightened. "They knew," Rin breathed. "They always knew we were coming." "Yes," Kael'Zor said, "and they still let the wars happen." That realization landed like gravity. "We chose limited response warfare," Director Ward said, "because full-spectrum engagement would have resulted in extinction-level loss across multiple civilizations." Shock rippled across the bridge. Not threat, statement. More visuals appeared. Simulations this time. Star systems collapsing under chain gravitational shear. Hyperspace lanes burning out. Planetary cores destabilizing. Weapons no one had seen. Models no one had built. Except humans. "We did not deploy these options," she said. "We will not, unless forced." The chamber behind her darkened, and a star map appeared, the galactic arm, with 3 invasion routes highlighted in red. Each route ended at Earth. Then new lines appeared. Blue lines. Human counterroutes. They did not stop at borders. They did not stop at capitals. They reached infrastructure hearts, ship foundries, energy wells, data cores. Total system paralysis paths. Rin's voice trembled. "Those are decapitation vectors." "Yes," Kael'Zor said quietly. "War-ending vectors." "In 72 standard hours," Ward continued, "we will conduct a controlled demonstration in an uninhabited system. Observers are permitted. Weapons are not." A coordinate string appeared, edge of chart region, listed as a dead star system for 9 million years. Kael'Zor recognized it. Everyone did, because nothing lived there. Nothing could. "You will witness a technology we have withheld for half a century," she said. "A construction tool, not a weapon." That phrasing repeated in his mind. Construction tool, not weapon, which meant a weapon version existed. "We do not want conflict," she said, "but we will end it permanently if necessary." The memorial wall behind her brightened. Billions of engraved names. Human dead, war dead, all 3 wars. "We remember every loss," she said softly. "We assume you do not. That difference ends now." The transmission terminated, not fading, simply gone. No signal tail, no traceable origin vector, like it had never crossed space at all. Bridge chatter erupted instantly. Overlapping analysis bursts, probability models, threat revisions. Kael'Zor did not join them. He stared at the empty screen. They weren't persuading, he said at last. Rin looked at him. What were they doing? Setting terms of reality. Emergency council convened within minutes. Priority override. Holographic delegates filled the war chamber. Crystalline, synthetic, organic, swarm-linked. No ceremony. No greetings. Fear erased etiquette. The Vorluni matriarch spoke first. It is deception, scale theater, morale warfare. The hive voice replied, probability of deception, declining, data integrity, high. Dominion Strategos Var replied, even if real, demonstrations can be staged. Kael'Zor finally entered the channel. I fought them, he said, up close. Silence followed. Rank carried weight. They used primitive-looking weapons with physics-breaking output. They jammed without emitting jamming signals. They predicted maneuvers before we made them. He paused. And they rescued my crew after disabling my flagship. Confusion pulses flickered across multiple delegates. Why? Asked the high voice. Because, Kael'Zor said slowly, they were not trying to win the war. He let that land. They were trying to limit it. New intelligence feeds poured into the council stream during debate. Hidden mass structures near Earth, confirmed. Ghost shipyards, confirmed. Off-chart jump trails, confirmed. Quantum energy spikes, confirmed. The dead demonstration system, previously inert, now showed rising stellar activity. Delegates froze. That star is reigniting, a sensor guild reported. Stars did not restart. The matriarch snapped. Yet it is... All eyes turned, unconsciously, toward the human coordinate marker. Kael'Zor felt certainty settle in his bones. They are preparing the stage, he said. For what? Someone asked. He answered without hesitation. To teach. Private channel. Rin only. Sir, she asked quietly, are we going to the demonstration? Yes. You sound certain. I am. Why? Kael'Zor looked once more at the silent memorial image burned into his memory. Because species that build hospitals and battlefields, he said, do not bluff about consequences. He straightened. And if they wanted us dead, we would already be gone. Admiral Kael'Zor had visited the KX-779 system once before, long ago, during his early command years. It had been a corpse, a dead star wrapped in frozen planets and lightless debris. No radiation bands. No magnetic song, just a cold gravity while drifting at the edge of mapped space. Now it was burning, not brightly, not yet, but undeniably alive. That is not stellar reignition. His science commander whispered. That is controlled restart. Kael'Zor did not answer immediately. His flagship held position at the outer observation boundary, exactly 10 light hours from the inner system, the distance specified in the human transmission. Every major power had sent observers, and every one of them stopped exactly at the line humans drew. No one tested it. That alone told a story. Across the tactical sphere, alien fleets hovered in uneasy clusters, crystal dreadnoughts, hive carriers, machine lattices, Dominion warspires. Old rivals now parked like nervous students outside a laboratory door, weapons power but not armed, scanners wide but passive. No one wanted to be first to look aggressive. Count, Kael'Zor ordered. 241 primary vessels, Rin replied. 600 support craft. More arriving. All to watch one human ship, he said. Rin adjusted her crest. Assuming it is only one. The star brightened another fractional degree. Not flaring. Tuning. Spectral bands slid into alignment like instruments finding pitch. Output curve is too smooth, science reported. Natural ignition is chaotic. This is engineered. A ripple passed through the fleet network. Shared unease without shared command. Then it appeared. No jump flash. No distortion cone. A ship simply became present inside the system, near the star, as if reality updated and included it. Gasps broke discipline across multiple channels. Detection delay? Rin asked. Negative, sensors answered. It was not there. Now it is. The human vessel was small by capital standards. Needle slender, minimal profile, no visible armor shelves, no weapon towers, no shield glow. Designation beacon transmitted openly. UES Horizon Builder. Construction vessel. Rin read. Kael'Zor almost laughed. Of course it is. An open broadcast followed. Human voice, female comm. Observer fleets. You are inside safe envelope. Do not advance. Do not deploy probes beyond marker buoys. This demonstration is non-hostile. Immediately, 3 Empires launched stealth probes anyway. Every probe vanished at the same distance, not destroyed, simply removed from sensor existence. No explosion, no debris, no signal end. Just gone. The human voice returned, unchanged in tone. Please remain outside the buoys. No threat added. None needed. Rin swallowed. They're not escalating emotionally. Which means, Kael'Zor said, they're not improvising. Data streams flooded the bridge. The human ship was radiating layered fields that didn't map to any force model. Not EM, not gravitic, not psionic, not hyperspatial. Describe it, Kael'Zor demanded. Science hesitated. It looks like mathematics. That is not a field type. It is the closest description we have. Council Priority Channel open mid-observation. Debate still raging in parallel. Matriarch. Stage illusion. High voice. Data consistency too high. Machine combined. Request raw feed all spectrums. Dominion strategos. Hold fire regardless. Kael'Zor muted them. He wanted clean perception. Object launch. Tactical called. A tiny dot separated from the human ship. No drive flare. No acceleration curve. Yet velocity climbed beyond light ratio. Without entering jump. How? Rin breathed. Space is moving around it. Science said hoarsely. Not the object through space. The projectile touched the star. Reality misbehaved. There was no explosion. Instead, a pause, like the universe taking a breath. Then the star folded slightly. Angles appearing where curves should exist. Geometry surfacing through plasma. Several observers screamed over open channels. Not from pain. From perception overload. Stabilize your visual filters. Kael'Zor snapped. Instruments reading non-Euclidean curvature. Science shouted. Inside a star. The stellar core signature changed element class, not fusion progression. Composition rewrite. They are editing it, Rin whispered. Yes, Kael'Zor said. Like code. A wave expanded outward, slow, deliberate, touching the innermost planet. The planet did not explode. It simplified. Crust particles energy patterned lattice gone. Sensor boards filled with error glyphs. Report. It is not destruction. Mass energy conserved, but state converted. Converted to what? Information. The word echoed across multiple ships simultaneously as translators caught up. Information. A planet turned into stored data. No weapon signature registered. No attack profile matched. The human voice spoke again. You are observing matter-state conversion. Reversible, precision-bounded. Reversible. The second planet dissolved. Then the third. Gas giants followed, collapsing into ordered energy matrices instead of fire. No shock waves. No debris. Only transformation. Fleet fear levels spiked into panic bands. Weapons officers across dozens of ships requested arming clearance. Denied by their own admirals. Because if this was a construction tool, no one wanted to see the weapon. Mass accounting? Kael'Zor demanded. Nothing lost, Science answered shakily. Everything tracked, stored inside the human vessel, or somewhere linked to it. That ship is too small, Rin said. Yes, Kael'Zor replied, which means storage is not inside the ship. She understood instantly and looked sick. Within 40 minutes, the system held only the living star. Everything else, gone into pattern. The human ship launched a second device, larger, slower, surrounded by equation-like light. Space shimmered. Reconstruction began. Planets returned, but improved, orbital harmonics perfect, atmospheres tuned, ring system stabilized, moons placed with tidal symmetry, not restoration, optimization. This is not a warning shot, Rin said quietly. No, Kael'Zor answered. This is a resume. Silence held the fleets. No one mocked. No one challenged. No one spoke loudly anymore. Finally, Kael'Zor opened a direct channel to the human ship. Human captain, he said, voice steady. Confirm. This device is categorized as construction equipment? The reply came instantly. Yes, Admiral. He forced himself to ask the next question. Then what? He said. Do you classify as a weapon? There was a brief pause. When she answered, her voice was gentle. We classify those, she said, as unnecessary. No one fired. In an entire observer armada, across hundreds of warships, not a single weapon discharged. Target locks were taken, dropped, retaken, then quietly cleared, because every tactical mind reached the same conclusion at the same time. If that human vessel could convert planets into information with construction tools, weapons fire would be suicide. Admiral Kael'Zor kept his posture rigid, while chaos rippled through command channels. Panic did not always sound like screaming. Sometimes it sounded like officers talking too fast and using too many numbers. Fleet clusters are backing off 2 additional light hours, Rin reported. No one wants to be inside revised effect radius. Wise, Kael'Zor said. The rebuilt system shone with unnatural perfection. Orbital paths formed harmonic ratios. Magnetospheres aligned like engineered shields. Even the asteroid belts looked curated. Nature did not produce symmetry like that. Design did. The human ship, still small, still quiet, orbited the renewed inner world like a surveyor finishing inspection. Then the broadcast returned. Observers, the human captain said. Demonstration phase complete. System stability confirmed. You may run long-range scans. Permission, not a boast, a gesture. Skim beams from 200 civilizations lanced inward. Results came back and made things worse. Everything is real, science whispered. No projection layers. No masking. They actually rebuilt it. Improved density distribution, Rin added, reading cross feeds. Resource yield increased 40% across terrestrial bodies. Kael'Zor exhaled slowly. They just upgraded a solar system in under an hour. Emergency Galactic Council Channel Force open again. No protocol, just raw priority override. Delegates appeared mid-argument, mid-fear. Matriarch Seralith of the Crystal Throne spoke first, and louder than dignity allowed. This changes nothing. A tool display is not a war display. The machine combined answered instantly. Incorrect. Tool implies deeper power stack. High voice layered in. Revised probability. Human strategic ceiling unknown. Previous models invalid. Dominion Strategos Var turned toward Kael'Zor's feed. You witnessed all 3 wars. Did they ever deploy anything even remotely like this? No, Kael'Zor said. Then why now? Var demanded. Because, Kael'Zor replied, we did not listen the first 3 times. Silence followed that. Not agreement. Recognition. A private Dominion military channel pinged Kael'Zor. High command only. He accepted. Admiral, said Grand Marshal Trell, we are updating contingency doctrine. Too late, Kael'Zor said calmly. Trell stiffened. Explain. If they intended conquest, we would already be conquered. This was not intimidation. It was boundary setting. You are suggesting we stand down entirely? I am suggesting, Kael'Zor replied, that you stop thinking in terms of winning. Movement near the star drew attention again. The human ship deployed a lattice, millions of tiny nodes unfolding like metallic pollen, spreading through solar orbit in perfect spacing. New weapon? Rin asked. Unknown, Science answered. No charge buildup. The captain's voice clarified. Secondary phase. Infrastructure seeding. Autonomous stellar maintenance grid. Kael'Zor blinked. They're installing upkeep systems in a demo. Admiral, Rin said quietly, they're not showing force. He nodded. They're showing normal. Long-range intelligence packets began updating across fleet nets, cross-correlating past anomalies with today's observed tech. Ghost shipyards near Earth, now plausible. Vanishing scout probes, explained. Sense-blind mass zones, intentional. Uncharted jump trails, hidden corridors. For decades, the galaxy had logged these as errors. They were not errors. They were human privacy. Sir, Rin said, voice lower, we decrypted an old Dominion Black Archive file, dismissed 30 years ago. Play it. A grainy scout, recording filled the display. Timestamp. Shortly after the First Terran War. A dead star system. Then, sudden ignition. A brief 1 minutes only, then dark again. Same signature. Science confirmed. Early prototype event. Kale Zor felt a chill through his core plates. They solved this half a century ago. And chose not to use it, Rin said. Yes. That makes it worse. Yes. Open observer channel, not official. Ship-to-ship chatter. Usually suppressed. Now impossible to stop. They could erase home worlds. They could rebuild them loyal. They could rewrite gravity wells. They could end hyperspace lanes. Fear imagination always outran fact. But this time fact was already extreme. The human captain interrupted the rising noise, not by overriding, by simply speaking. Clarification, she said. The reconstruction platform requires consent protocols for inhabited systems. It is not authorized for populated zones. Authorized by whom? Someone demanded. By us, she answered. Not arrogant. Final. Kale Zor opened a direct line again. Human captain. Go ahead, Admiral. Why show this now? Because invasion fleets were being assembled again, she said plainly. No denial came from council channels. Because it was true. You could have destroyed those fleets, Kale Zor said. Yes. Why didn't you? Because demonstrations scale better than funerals. Bridge silence. Crew stillness. That line would be remembered for centuries. Fleet withdrawal began, not routed, orderly, embarrassed. No one announced retreat. Everyone scheduled repositioning. The human ship did not follow, did not track, did not warn again. It simply continued placing its stellar maintenance grid like a gardener finishing work. Rin watched the tactical sphere thin out. Do you think peace will hold? Kale Zor considered carefully. Fear will hold first, he said. Understanding later, if we are fortunate. And if we are not, he looked at the perfected worlds circling their repaired sun. Then, he said quietly, we will discover what their non-construction tools do. As his flagship turned toward jump alignment, a final data burst arrived. Origin. Earth, public channel. Short text only. No fourth war. Nothing more. No signature. No threat. No decoration. Rin read it twice. That's all. Kale Zor nodded. Yes, he said. That's all it ever needed to be. 3 cycles after the demonstration, the galaxy stopped pretending it had not happened. Trade routes shifted. Military exercises were quietly canceled. Border patrol fleets repositioned, not toward Earth, but away from it. Official statements used careful language. Strategic reassessment, doctrine modernization, defensive recalibration. Unofficially, it had a simpler name. Fear. Admiral Kale Zor watched the change unfold from Dominion High Orbit Command, where he had been reassigned as strategic advisor instead of fleet commander. A polite demotion, a safer distance. War planning traffic down 82%. Rin reported from the analysis tier. Resource allocation shifting toward fortification and deep shelters. Against Earth, Kale Zor asked. Against possibility, she answered. He almost smiled. But not everyone accepted the new reality. Extremists never did. They're calling themselves a purity front, Rin continued, bringing up a symbol, a fractured spiral star. Multi-species hardliners, former officers, disgraced strategists, religious militarists. Funding. Kale Zor asked. Black markets and ghost accounts. Enough for ships, not enough for fleets. Fanatics with engines, he said. Dangerous combination. They claimed the human demonstration was staged using galaxy-scale illusion arrays. Of course they do. They're recruiting crews for a proof strike. Kael'Zor's expression hardened. Target, human outer colonies. He turned fully toward her. They want to poke a sleeping singularity. Emergency Advisory Council convened. Smaller than the Grand Assembly. Real power, fewer speeches. Dominion, Crystal Thrones, Hive Collective, Machine Combine. Shared threat screen. Purity Front Fleet, estimated 42 vessels, mixed classes, heavily modified, suicide range drives. Crystal Matriarch Seralith spoke first. We should intercept and destroy them. Immediately, Hive voice responded. Interception success probability, 61%. Human retaliation risk, unknown. Machine Combine added. Human detection probability of fleet launch, near certain. All eyes turned to Kael'Zor. He did not rush his answer. Humans knew about invasion fleets years before they launched, he said. You think they don't know about this? Then why haven't they stopped it? Seralith demanded. Because, Kael'Zor said quietly, they are waiting to see who we choose to be. A classified sensor relay opened on the table. Dominion deep scan. Pointed nowhere near Earth. Yet it showed human ships. Dozens. Hundreds. Drifting between stars without beacons. Without emissions. Only visible because Dominion had retuned sensors using demonstration mass signatures. They were always there, Rin whispered. Yes, Kael'Zor said. We just learned how to see. Are they mobilizing? No, Science replied. They're stationed. Like what? Seralith asked. Kael'Zor answered. Like firefighters. Purity Front propaganda began flooding fringe networks. Humans bleed like any species. Illusions fail under fire. One system strike proves truth. Recruitment surged. Desperation loves simple stories. Kael'Zor authorized a covert channel, human-directed. First of its kind from Dominion Command. He did not expect a reply. He received one in 11 seconds. Text only. We are aware. Continue being yourselves. Rin read it twice. That's not a plan. Kael'Zor shook his head. It's just not ours. Purity Front Fleet ignited drives at the edge of map space. No stealth. Manifesto broadcast active. Martyr music playing on open bands. They want witnesses, Rin said. They want mythology, Kael'Zor corrected. Council forces moved to intercept, but deliberately slow. Everyone afraid of being the spark that triggered human escalation. Then something changed. One by one, Purity Front ships dropped from sensors. No explosions, no debris, no jump signatures. Just absence. Report. Seralith snapped. Not destroyed. Machine Combined said. Removed. Removed where? No one answered. Because the answer arrived from the human channel. Open broadcast. Same comm captain from the demonstration. Unauthorized fleet has been relocated, she said. Crew unharmed. Vessels impounded. They are being returned to their home governments for disposition. Silence crushed the chamber. Seralith found her voice first. You seized 42 warships without combat. Yes. How? Traffic enforcement, the captain replied gently. Kael'Zor covered his eyes briefly. Data packets followed. Proof. Ship interiors intact. Crews alive. Now sitting inside containment docks orbiting their own homeworlds. Drives offline. Weapons cold. No memory of transit. They don't remember being moved. Rin said. Selective transit blackout. Science concluded. That violates every, Seralith began. Kael'Zor cut in. Every invasion they prevented too. She stopped talking. Private human message reached Kael'Zor alone. Admiral, thank you for choosing caution publicly. Influence matters. He stared at it for a long time. They're watching individuals, Rin said softly. Yes, he answered. Not just fleets. Public reaction fractured. Some worlds felt relieved. Some felt humiliated. Some felt ruled without chains. Purity Front support collapsed overnight. Hardliners hate surviving failure. But something else rose in its place. Imitation. Civilizations began copying human doctrine phrases. Defensive first strike prevention. Casualty minimization warfare. Infrastructure preservation rules. Not for morality. from survival math. Kael'Zor accepted the irony gladly. He recorded a personal log before rest cycle. We tried to measure human power in weapons yield. That was our first mistake. Their real advantage is response control. They choose when escalation exists. The rest of us are only choosing how embarrassed we are when it happens. Rin heard it and asked quietly, "Do you trust them, sir?" Kael'Zor looked out at the starfield, knowing now how many unseen human ships drifted among them like silent guardians. "No," he said honestly. Then, after a beat, "I trust their pattern." Peace did not spread across the galaxy like celebration. It spread like caution. Shipyards stayed active, but designs changed. Heavy invasion hulls were quietly scrapped mid-construction. Planetary shield projects were upgraded, not against neighbors, but against theoretical physics. War colleges introduced a new required course. Human response modeling, failure case studies only. Admiral Kael'Zor reviewed the curriculum in silence. Every lesson ended the same way. Outcome: human escalation not recommended. For the first time in recorded galactic doctrine, victory scenarios were removed from simulations. Not because they were unlikely, because they were mathematically impossible. "Sir," Rin said, entering the strategy chamber, "a joint science coalition is requesting your presence. Cross-species. Priority sealed. Topic: they wouldn't transmit it, which means it's either nonsense," Kael'Zor said, standing, "or terrifying." "Statistically," she replied, "terrifying." The meeting was held in a neutral research ring. No weapons, no fleet authority, only minds. Crystal physicists, hive mathematicians, machine continuum analysts, Dominion field theorists. At the center floated a star map. At first glance, normal. Then Kael'Zor saw the problem. It was bigger than the galaxy. "This is wrong," he said immediately. "Yes," said the machine continuum node. "That is why you are here. We rebuilt sensor math using principles observed in the human stellar reconstruction event," the lead researcher explained. "Not to copy the technology, only to see what it sees." The map zoomed out. The galactic spiral shrank, then shrank again, until it was a dot inside a larger structure. Someone whispered, "That's impossible." The researcher answered quietly, "Yes." Around the galaxy were patterns, vast geometric corridors, like lanes, like channels, like architecture, not natural, designed. "Scale?" Kael'Zor asked. "Intergalactic." "Builder?" "Unknown." "Age?" "Older than most stars currently burning." Silence settled like dust. High-voiced fragments spoke from a remote node. These structures matched the vector math inside human transit signatures. Kael'Zor turned slowly. "Say that clearly." "Human ships do not merely travel through space," Hive Voice said. "They travel along these corridors." "Pre-existing corridors?" "Negative," Machine Continuum replied. "Maintain corridors." "Maintained by whom?" Rin asked. No one wanted to say it, so Kael'Zor did. "Humans." Objection erupted immediately. Fear disguised as skepticism. Too large. Too ancient. Too precise. The researcher raised a claw. "We checked temporal layering. Portions show recent modification." "How recent?" Kael'Zor asked. "Within 50 years." The room went still. First Terran war time frame. A new overlay appeared. Faint, almost invisible, until contrast increased. Markers. Stations. Outposts. Anchors. All along the corridors. "Human, you're telling me," Kael'Zor said slowly, "while we were invading their home system, they were building intergalactic infrastructure." "Yes," the researcher said, "without announcing it." "Yes." "Without using it aggressively." "Yes." Rin exhaled softly. "That's consistent." He nodded grimly. "Yes, that's what makes it real. Emergency ping direct, human origin, not routed through networks, received inside the sealed lab. Message: you are close to a boundary your models cannot safely cross. Please stop extending that map." Every device in the chamber verified authenticity. No spoof. No relay. Direct. The researcher whispered, They're monitoring our math. Kael'Zor almost laughed, not from humor, from inevitability. Of course they are. He authorized reply. Text only. We discovered it accidentally. We will halt. Request clarification. Threat or courtesy. Answer returned in 3 seconds. Courtesy. The outer corridors are not all ours. Some are dormant. We prefer they stay that way. Rin, read it twice. Dormant, she said. Kael'Zor didn't like the word. Ask, he said. Reply sent. Dormant what? Delay this time. Longer, 9 seconds. Neighbors. No one in the chamber spoke for a full minute. Finally, Seralith, patched in remotely, said what everyone thought. You're saying there are civilizations beyond the galactic cluster with comparable capability? Human reply. Comparable is the wrong comparison metric. Stronger? Rin asked before she could stop herself. Human reply. Different. Older. Less patient. The map display powered itself down. Not by command. By override. Human override. No system damage. Just gentle refusal. Machine continuum confirmed. Shutdown carried a signature identical to stellar reconstruction control fields. Kael'Zor nodded once. They didn't seize our systems, he said. They closed the door. Private channel. Human to Kael'Zor again. Admiral, influence curve update. Your public caution reduced 3 escalation proposals. Appreciated. He typed back. You're building defenses beyond our galaxy. Why tell us anything at all? Answer. Because neighbors should know when the locks are reinforced, not when the alarms trigger. He sat with that. Long. Back aboard his flagship, Rin finally asked the question she'd been holding. Sir, are humans protecting themselves from the galaxy? Kael'Zor looked at the starfield, remembering the hidden ships, the corridor map, the word neighbors. No, he said quietly. They're protecting the galaxy from what's outside it. Final human message arrived before a rest cycle. Public channel, short, almost gentle. Continue choosing fewer wars. It helps more than you know. Rin smiled faintly. They really do think long-term. Kael'Zor answered. No, he said. They think in scales we just learned exist. The first alarm did not come from a military network. It came from a telescope, a small, automated deep-field observatory orbiting a forgotten ice world at the edge of Hive collective space flagged a brightness anomaly, then crashed trying to categorize it. Not an explosion, not a flare, a line, a perfectly straight line of light between galaxies. By the time the data reached major science hubs, 12 independent sensors had confirmed it. One of the intergalactic corridors, the ones the Joint Research Group was told not to map further, had activated. Define activated. Admiral Kael'Zor asked calmly as the report unfolded across his command table. Rin answered carefully. Energy flow present. Directed. Structured. Like traffic. Magnitude. She hesitated. Higher than the total output of our home star, but collimated. A ship? No, sir. A fleet? No, sir. She looked up. A path being used. Emergency cross-species alert follow within minutes. Not political, not strategic. Existential. Crystal thrones confirmed the same corridor illumination from their outer halo sensors. Machine continuum verified directional vector. Inbound toward galactic local group. Hive collective probability core issued a rare plain language statement. Movement confirmed. Unknown civilization transit likely. The room where Kael'Zor stood went very quiet. Notify Earth. Strategos Varset automatically. Rin checked, then blinked. They already know. How? Because they replied before we transmitted. Human message, priority open. No ceremony. Yes, we see it. Do not approach. Do not probe. Do not transmit toward it. We are handling first contact containment. Containment, not contact. Seralith appeared on council projection. Crystal facets dimmed. You speak as if this has happened before. Human reply. It has. Elsewhere. Kael'Zor stepped closer to the pickup field. Are we under threat? Pause. Not long, but deliberate. Potentially, if greeted incorrectly. Define incorrectly, he pressed, like a young species with weapons and pride. Several delegates muted themselves in embarrassment. Deep-range visuals resolved 2 hours later. Something was moving along the corridor beam, not traveling through space, sliding along the structure path like mass on a rail. Size estimates fluctuated wildly because the object did not hold consistent geometry. It's folding, science said. Multiple topologies cycling. Translate, Kael'Zor ordered. It does not stay the same shape long enough to measure. That is not a ship, Rin whispered. No, Kael'Zor agreed. It's an arrival. Human fleet movement finally became visible, and for the first time, public, thousands of human vessels emerged from nothing across corridor-adjacent volumes, not near planets, not near borders, only near the Great Lanes. No panic thrust, no weapon bloom, just position, layered defense in depth, like a wall made of patience. Dominion tactical analysts stared. They had this deployment staged. Var breathed. Kael'Zor nodded. For a long time, a human command signal opened, not just to governments, to everyone. Clear, steady, unafraid. Galactic civilizations, remain behind your stellar gravity wells. Power down deep-range emitters. Suspend jump traffic for 12 hours. This is precautionary. No threats added. Compliance reached 90% in 6 minutes. Fear can coordinate faster than treaties. Rin monitored the inbound object. Speed is constant relative to corridor frame, which means it's choosing pace. Predator or diplomat? She asked. Kael'Zor answered quietly. Old. A private channel opened. Human to senior non-human commanders only. Kael'Zor accepted. A different human appeared. Older. Uniform unadorned. Eyes tired in a way warriors recognize. I'm Director Hale, he said. Corridor Custody Authority. Not Navy. Not government. Custody. You maintain these structures, Kael'Zor said. Yes. For how long? Since we found them broken. That sentence rewrote several thousand assumptions at once. Seralith spoke sharply. What is coming? Hale answered without drama. A transit architect. No one recognized the term. He clarified. Species-scale engineer. Builds corridors. Moves galaxies into better arrangements. Not malicious. Not gentle. Why defensive posture then? Var demanded. Because, Hale said, we are currently classified by them as undeclared variables. Rin whispered. That sounds bad. Hale heard her anyway. It's not good. Data burst. Human tactical overlay shared. First time ever. Showing layered fields around the corridor mouth. Reality anchors. Causality buffers. Translation nets. Dimensional breaks. Tools beyond weapon classes. You're fortifying space itself, Kael'Zor said. Yes. Will it be enough? Hale's pause held honesty. We'll see. The inbound entity changed brightness, signaling awareness. Every human ship shifted formation instantly, not by command lag, by pre-linked intent architecture. They drill this, Rin said softly. No, Kael'Zor replied. They live this. Unexpectedly, a tight beam message arrived, not from humans, from the inbound presence. No language, only structure, mathematics layered with apology, greeting encoded as spatial proof. Human systems translated. Hale read it once, then exhaled. It's asking who maintains the corridor. Seralith said, Answer. Hale nodded. Already did. What did you say? Kael'Zor asked. Hale looked directly at them. Neighbors. The reply came instantly. Corridor brightness increased tenfold, but stabilized, not weaponizing, acknowledging. It accepts shared custody claim. Hale said. That lowers risk. From what to what? Var asked. From catastrophic. Hale answered. To dangerous. Public advisory followed. No hostile intent detected. No safe assumptions made. Remain under shelter protocols. Kael'Zor watched human ships hold the line, not trembling, not posturing, simply present. He felt a strange emotion then. Not fear, relief, because for the first time, the unknown was not meeting a divided galaxy. It was meeting humans first. Rin spoke quietly beside him. Sir, if they hadn't built these corridor defenses... He finished the thought. We wouldn't even know something was coming. Final status update before cycle end. Transit architect decelerating. Human contact team advancing. No weapons deployed. Kael'Zor recorded his log. We spent a century fearing human strength. Today we learned why it exists. No one slept across the inner spiral arm. Entire civilizations dimmed their night cycles and kept their skies lit with sensor webs pointed outward. Religious networks broadcast continuous prayers. Machine worlds ran prediction loops without pause. Hive minds redistributed processing from agriculture and climate control to threat modeling. All of it for a single inbound presence. Admiral Kael'Zor remained on command watch when the update arrived. Transit entity reducing corridor velocity, Rin reported, now matching human defensive shell drift. Distance, he asked, still beyond planetary strike range, if it uses weapons, which we still cannot confirm it has. Kael'Zor gave a humorless breath. At that scale, existence is a weapon. Human formation shifted again, but this time not into a wall, into a gate. Ships arranged themselves into nested geometric rings around the corridor mouth. Each ring rotated at a different relativistic ratio, generating layered metric effects that bent starlight into halos. Those aren't shields, Dominion Science said overshared channel. No, Kael'Zor agreed quietly. They're translation environments. Director Hale reappeared on command link. Contact protocol beginning, he said. We are matching reference frames so both sides receive consistent physics. Seralith asked, You've done this before? Hale answered, Yes. With them? With others. That did not comfort anyone. The inbound entity emerged in the corridor like a thought becoming visible. It did not exit, it unfolded. Segments of space rotated 90 degrees around nothing. Lines became surfaces. Surfaces became volumes. Volumes braided into a structure too large for single-focus vision. Sensors failed, then recalibrated, then failed again. Stop forcing scale locks. Rin ordered her board. Let it down sample. A simplified proxy image formed. Still enormous. Still wrong. Still deliberate. It's not a ship, she whispered. Hale answered on open channel. No, it's an instrument. The first true signal arrived. Not math greeting this time. A question, encoded in curvature harmonics and prime interval spacing, translated by human corridor AIs almost instantly. Hale read it aloud for the council. Who altered the broken lanes? Kael'Zor felt his skin plates tighten. Not who are you? Not where am I? A maintenance question. Hale keyed reply. We did. Local custodians. Delay. Not transmission delay. Consideration. Then, you are early species. Hale smiled faintly. We get that a lot. He transmitted. Correct. We repaired what we could. The architect answered. Repairs are functional. Across alien channels, disbelief rippled. Praise. From a being that reshaped intergalactic structure, directed at humans. Rin murmured. They just pass inspection. Kael'Zor opened command band whisper. Director, why were the lanes broken? Hale did not look away from the entity when he answered. Entropy storms. Old war damage. Vacuum phase drift. No one maintaining them for a very long time. You stepped in. Yes. Why? Hale finally glanced toward the camera. Because if lanes collapse, galaxies collide blind. The architect transmitted again, broader. Now aware of other civilizations listening behind a human gate. Why many voices hiding? Seralith stiffened. It detects us. Hale replied. They are neighbors. Under our care. A long pause. Then, care is claim. Hive voice whispered across council mesh. That phrase denotes guardianship authority. Var asked, Did we just become a human protectorate? Kael'Zor answered quietly. We became their responsibility. Unexpectedly, the architect projected imagery, not attack, not threat history. Dead corridors. Torn space-time bridges. Galaxies sheared by misaligned transit wells. Civilizations erased by navigation collapse. This is why they exist, Hale said softly. They build and tune the long roads. Why so few of them? Rin asked, Because most younger species fight over planets, Hale said, not infrastructure. A new question from the architect. Why you rebuild stars? Every alien channel lit with shock. It knew. It had seen the demonstration record embedded in corridor telemetry. Hale answered without hesitation. Stability. Habitat. Resource balance. Pause. Inefficient for early species. Hale shrugged slightly. We're ambitious. Kael'Zor almost laughed despite the tension. The architect responded with something like approval. Ambition with maintenance. Acceptable. Then a shift. Corridor brightness fluctuated. Human ships tightened ring geometry instantly. Hold positions. Hale ordered. Calm but firm. Rin. Energy gradient rising. Not weaponized. Structural. What does that mean? Var demanded. Hale answered. It's testing load-bearing. Of what? Us. Metric pressure rolled across the gate. Not force. Evaluation. Human rings glowed as their reality anchors dug into space-time like pitons into rock. 2 outer rings failed, not destroyed, disengaged, replaced by reserves in perfect timing. No panic. Kael'Zor noted softly. Because they drill failure. Rin said. No, he corrected again. They expect it. After 12 seconds, the pressure ceased. Architect signal. Structure holds. Hale nodded once. Thank you, Saralith whispered. It just stress-tested a civilization. Yes, Kael'Zor said, and we passed because of one species. Final exchange of the encounter phase came through simple, massive, consequential. Lane segment transfer offer, joint custody. Council erupted, dozens speaking at once. Hale raised a hand. Accepted, he transmitted. No vote. No delay. Later arguments could happen after survival. Corridor brightness softened, stabilized, normalized. The architect began slow lateral drift, continuing its work deeper along the intergalactic span, not invading, surveying, maintaining. Before it moved beyond translation range, it sent one last structured pulse. Young species, continue repair. Hale answered, we will. Human defensive rings relaxed, not dropped, eased. Galaxy-wide shelter orders downgraded. No shots fired. No worlds burned. No empires ended. Rin finally sat back. Sir, she said to Kael'Zor, we just watched first contact at cosmic scale. He nodded. Yes. With builders, she added. He looked at the human gate ships, still holding position even after danger passed. Not just builders, he said. Maintenance. Kael'Zor closed his log with a final line. The galaxy feared humans would become conquerors. Instead, they became custodians. The galaxy did not celebrate survival. It audited it. Within 2 cycles of the architect's passage, every major government launched internal reviews, emergency summits, and classified doctrine rewrites. Not about war plans. Those were already obsolete, but about status, because one phrase from the encounter refused to fade. Kara's claim. Admiral Kael'Zor watched the debate storm from Dominion's strategic orbit, where analysts spoke faster than translators could keep up. They declared custodianship without consent. They answered on our behalf. They positioned themselves as infrastructure authority. They prevented a Category 5 existential event. Each statement was true. That was the problem. Rin brought up the sentiment models. Public reaction split 3 ways. List them, Kael'Zor said. Relief bloc, 42%. They want formal alliance with Earth immediately. He nodded. Understandable. Resentment bloc, 35%. They're calling it soft domination. Also understandable. An adaptation bloc, 23%. They want to copy human policy and become useful. Kael'Zor allowed himself a small, tired smile. Those are the ones who survive long-term. The Grand Council emergency session reopened. Attendance highest in recorded history. No theatrics now. No threats. Just uncomfortable honesty. Matriarch Saralith spoke first. We must address jurisdiction. Did humanity just place the galaxy under protectorate law? High voice answered. Protectorate requires enforcement extraction. Humans have not extracted. Machine Combine added, they invested instead. Strategos Var turned to Kael'Zor. Your assessment. He did not soften it. They assumed responsibility where no one else could. That creates authority whether we like it or not. That sounds like surrender, Sarah snapped. That sounds like adulthood, Kael'Zor replied. A human delegation feed opened. Unrequested, but not blocked. Director Hale again. Same plain uniform, same steady eyes. We are not claiming governance, he said. We are claiming maintenance zones. Define the boundary. Var demanded corridors, stellar stability networks, high-risk cosmological infrastructure. Who decide what qualifies? Saralith asked sharply. Hale answered simply. Physics. He pushed the data packet to all delegates, open and censored, a map of lane segments, star lift stations, gravity anchors, entropy shields, thousands of sites, human maintained, human funded, human staffed. Gasps moved through the chamber. You built all this without treaty, Saralith said. Yes, Hale agreed. Why? Because the failures were already happening. Rin whispered to Kael'Zor. They didn't expand territory. No, he said. They expanded responsibility. A delegate from a minor trade league asked a question no empire had wanted to sound small enough to ask. What is the price? Hale smiled faintly, not predatory, not amused, just prepared. 3 things, he said. The chamber stilled. First, no corridor weaponization, ever, by anyone. Immediate argument started. He talked over it calmly. Second, no stellar destabilization warfare. If you crack stars, you lose lane access. Silence grew heavier. Third, conflict arbitration zones. If 2 civilizations are about to escalate beyond planetary scale, we intervene. That is policing. Saralith protested. That is firebreak. Hale replied. Var leaned forward. And if we refuse? Hale did not blink. Then we still maintain the corridors, he said. But you won't be allowed to use them. Trade empires went pale. High voice calculated aloud. Lane denial equals 7% economic contraction across spiral. Machine Combine added. And 90% exploration halt. Kael'Zor exhaled slowly. Checkmate without threat posture. Private channel. Hail to Kael'Zor only. You knew this conversation was coming. Kael'Zor replied. Yes, I'm surprised you waited this long. We hoped you'd ask first. He almost laughed. Council debate raged for 6 hours. But it was theater now. Outcomes were constrained by reality, not rhetoric. One by one, blocks agreed to corridor accords. Not submission. Subscription. Saralith signed last, crystal facets dim. This will be remembered, she warned. Hale nodded gently. Yes, that's the idea. After session close, Dominion Internal Command called Kael'Zor directly. Did we just trade sovereignty for safety? The Grand Marshal asked. Kael'Zor answered carefully. No, we traded chaos for maintenance. That sounds like human phrasing. Yes, Kael'Zor said, because they're the only ones doing the work. New galaxy norms propagated quickly. Corridor safe codes. Star Core weapon bans. Escalation arbitration requests. Pre-conflict mediation signals. War did not vanish, but it shrank. Planetary disputes replaced extinction campaigns. Rin tracked the metrics in awe. Active multi-system wars down to near zero. Kael'Zor nodded. Because escalation now is a landlord. A final, unexpected message reached all governments. Not from Hale, but from a human captain who rebuilt the demonstration system. Short, plain, voice only. We don't need obedience, she said. We need fewer repair emergencies. That line spread faster than any propaganda ever had. Rin looked out at the starfield display, where faint corridor lines now showed on public navigation maps for the first time. Sir, she said quietly, do you think they planned all this in the beginning? Kael'Zor considered the 3 wars, the mercy rescues, the hidden shipyards, the repaired stars, the quiet gates. Yes, he said, not as rulers. As caretakers who knew no one would listen until they had proof. He recorded his closing advisory note to Dominion Command. Human power was never about winning wars. It was about making large wars obsolete, and then maintaining the peace like infrastructure. He paused, then added one more line. Maintenance is the final form of dominance, and the most merciful. 10 standard years passed. For most of galactic history, 10 years was nothing, a rounding error in empire timelines, a pause between border wars, a minor footnote in expansion cycles. But these 10 years rewrote everything. Admiral Kael'Zor, no longer fleet command, now senior corridor liaison, stood beneath a transparent observation dome on Kepler Joint Station and watched traffic move along a stabilized human-maintained lane. Ships didn't jump anymore. They merged. Transit corridors had become visible, faint luminous rivers threading between stars. Travel was smoother, safer, faster, and impossible to weaponize without immediate lockout. Trade tripled. Piracy collapsed. Surprise invasions became mathematically impractical. War did not disappear, but it lost surprise, and without surprise, most wars never started. Rin joined him, older now, command insignia bright on her crest. Lane uptime this quarter, 99.998%, she said. Humans apologized for the remaining fraction. Kael'Zor gave a soft amusement click. Of course they do. The galaxy had adapted, just as the adaptation block predicted. War academies became crisis engineering institutes. Military shipyards built disaster response craft first, war hull second. Corridor service treaties replaced mutual defense pacts. And at the center of it all, not ruling, not taxing, not expanding, humans maintained. They repaired neutron shear fractures near dwarf clusters. They tuned unstable stars instead of mining them to collapse. They rebuilt 3 dead systems for species who signed the non-destabilization accords. Help, conditional, precise, never sentimental. Mercy, weaponized into policy. The architect returned twice in those 10 years. Each time, it exchanged structural updates with human custody authority and moved on. No threats, no praise, just professional acknowledgement between builders. Other architects were rumor beyond mapped clusters. Humans kept preparing anyway. Sir, Rin said, pulling up a cultural feed, new phrase trending across 14 civilizations. Which one? She smiled. Don't make the humans fix it. He laughed aloud for the first time in days. Not everyone was comfortable still. A sovereignty faction continued publishing warnings. Dependency is slow conquest. Infrastructure control equals destiny control. They were not entirely wrong, but they were incomplete because humans published their maintenance logs publicly. Every anchor, every corridor patch, every stellar adjustment. Open audit. Power with receipts. That changed the argument. Kael'Zor received a personal invitation. Earth, Corridor Authority Summit, in person. He accepted, not from fear, from respect. Earth orbit was quieter than legend suggested. No megafleet rings, no weapon halos, just layered defense grids woven so subtly they looked like sunlight artifacts. The summit hall overlooked a blue curve of planet and a mesh of orbital construction. Slow, precise, continuous. Director Hale greeted him without ceremony. Admiral, he said warmly, you look more retired every year. I keep failing at it, Kael'Zor replied. They walked past a wall display, not of battles, but repairs. Stars stabilized, lanes rebuilt, systems evacuated ahead of collapses. A civilization's proudest moments, none of them victories. All this, Kael'Zor said, and you never declare an empire. Hale shook his head. Empires are high maintenance. Kael'Zor stopped. You maintain half the intergalactic transit structure. Exactly, Hale said. Why would we want tenants too? During the summit, a junior delegate finally asked what many still wondered. Why did humanity choose this role instead of conquest when you clearly could have done it? The room turned to Hale. He answered without speech first, just a displayed image. Old Earth pre-spaceflight, night side, city lights like neural networks. Because, he said quietly, we almost destroyed our own world several times before we learned the difference between power and stewardship. He changed the image, wore ruins, then rebuilt cities. We got practice repairing what we broke, he said. Scaling up was logical. Later, alone with Kale Zor, Hale added something not in the speech. We also ran the projections, he said. What projections? Total victory scenarios. And no one survives a galaxy ruled by a single species, including that species. Kale Zor absorbed that slowly. Yes, he said. We proved that repeatedly on smaller scales. On his return journey, Kale Zor chose corridor transit observation mode. Transparent frame, watching a luminous structure slide past like a river of equations. Human maintenance drones move along the lattice, tireless, unnoticed, essential. He opened his final memoir entry, not for Dominion Command, for history. We feared humans would become the ultimate conquerors. We were wrong. They became something far more permanent. He watched a repair node flare softly as it corrected a microfracture in space-time geometry. Conquerors change borders. Custodians change outcomes. Rin's voice came over the channel. Sir, corridor traffic advisory. Minor delay ahead. Humans are fixing a sheer ripple. Of course they are, he said gently. Delay. 3 minutes. Casualties prevented. Unknowable. He finished the last line. The galaxy's quiet age did not begin when wars were won. It began when one species decided maintenance was more important than victory. He sealed the record. Outside, the corridor glowed, steady, protected, shared, and for the first time in galactic memory, no fleets were mobilizing anywhere. Only builders were moving.